Hey, I'm Wilson. This is my interview a creative person for my final in Professor Coombs class. And today I actually decided I wanted to interview my friend Rob, who I've known for about 5 to 6 years. I met him when he was a freshman at VCU. And the reason why I chose Rob for this interview a creative person was because I knew that he was really good with woodworking. And I thought that he was very creative with all the pieces that he's built around his house and the renovations that he's done. So tell me briefly about where you went to school and what you do right now.
So I went to VCU for furniture design in the crafts program there, and now I work at Wellborn and Wright. And I've worked there for about 2 years, and I'm the head of custom production. So I do all of their custom furniture and custom architectural elements.
Cool. And how long have you been there again?
2 years.
2 years, okay. And when did you begin to get involved with woodworking?
So I grew up on a farm, and I mean, wood was always a part of, repairing fences to building chicken houses to, stuff around the barn and fixing and replacing things. It was always, wood is everywhere on the farm, so it was really necessary.
Yeah, for sure. When did you finish your first serious piece? Was it for school or for personal use?
My first serious piece was, it was probably sophomore year, and it's the one right behind you. And that was in school, and that was when I really got into technique with joinery and really just exploring the different types of woods and their potential and their uses, and also the character of them, and learning way more in depth about the more elusive aspects of wood that maybe the everyday person wouldn't really know, or even someone who has had some experience with wood, but not maybe a wider variety of woods.
Yeah. How long did it take you to do the table?
So sophomore year we did 3 projects in a semester. So how long is a semester? Like 2-3 months?
3 to 4 months, I think.
Yeah.
Max, yeah.
So then probably a month.
Cool. That's awesome. So you've done a lot of renovations on this house because you've been here since your sophomore year, correct? You've done all sorts of things, like you put a skylight in on the stairway, you put a window in, you've done a lot of stuff outside and inside. So what specifically have you done to this house, and where do you get the creative ideas for those?
So like you said, the skylight and the windows, and a lot of that, especially windows, are just, there's a book called Pattern Language that my dad read, and I've also read parts of, and it talks about architecture and what architectural elements make buildings really desirable and comfortable to live in, and one of those is light, and having windows on at least 2 walls in every room is a big part of that. And I grew up in a house with a ton of windows, so adding windows has always been a must for me. And then other than that, I put in the outside shower, and we redid the sidewalk, and I've done a lot of landscaping and planted those trees, and you helped me get those stones.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's really just trying to make, I don't know, I feel Richmond is so old and it has all this character, and it's fun to come upon a house that maybe someone has just lived in but not really invested in, and it's like a blank canvas, so you really get to I got really lucky coming here, and it not being like a perfect house that you didn't want to do anything to, so we had a lot of opportunities to make things cooler and add a lot of natural elements, like the trees and the landscaping and stuff.
Yeah. And you put in this wood stove, which is really cool. Yeah. So in my class, throughout the semester, we discussed a lot about historic individuals like Sigmund Freud, Albert Einstein, people from the past, and what inspired their creativity and what gave them insight. So what do you enjoy most about what you do, and what helps you stay creative?
making is just enjoyable. It's like, I don't know, something about it. Just so many endorphins go off every time you get to the next step in a project and you complete one thing and you move on and the project comes together and you get to see it piece by piece. And especially in a collaborative situation when you get to work with other people. So I really say, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's addictive once you start, you just can't stop. And that really carries over into work. It's really good to get in an environment where everybody's excited about progressing with a project and seeing it come to fruition.
Past figures we learned about in class usually surrounded themselves with creative people and in creative groups. Do you have a group of people that help improve or expand your ideas?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody that I work with, I've really tried to surround myself and create an environment there where everybody is really good at what they do and is able to help everyone else excel. So I have at work someone who's great at cabinetry, and I knew nothing about cabinetry, and so I brought him on, and I've learned so much in that area. And just having that constant learning and just being able to grow your skill and your knowledge is really exciting. And I'm sure, I mean, that's how it must have been with, you know, any great artist. They just surround themselves with people that they can learn from.
Yeah. Do you think you've become like a lot more creative, like just in the past 2 years working at Wellborn?
Creative and knowledgeable are tricky because you can. Sometimes it stifles creativity, and sometimes it helps it grow. And I think that, you know, it's a double-edged sword. It's really great to know. I think I'm much more capable in my skill set, but it also doesn't really focus very heavily on creativity. You know, we're not going to a client and trying to build this crazy, really kind of out of the world thing. But that being said, it has helped me be more creative in like a more practical manner, because I've always really been pretty practical with my improvements. Like you know, like you said before, why did I do all these improvements? And they really stem from just necessity or practicality, and like you know, the windows or the sidewalk or stuff like that. So
Yeah, it makes sense. And do you find yourself creative more creative during certain times of the year or seasons? Like, do some seasons stick out to you that you've like really got good ideas flowing?
Yeah, it's funny though, because I think each season has its own tone. The winter, it's funny. Like in the summer and spring, I'll be outside a lot more, so I tend to do a lot more drawing and photography. And then in the winter, I'll sort of you know, become a recluse in the shed and do like little shed projects and do inside projects like you know, maybe building some shelves or trying to make a room really comfortable and lit well and sort of, you know, attend to all the needs that you could have in that room. Like this one, for example, with the wood stove and the couch and and the two chairs and how they all sort of flow.
Yeah, definitely. Have there been any pieces that maybe you were not quite fond of but ended up sparking like a certain interest?
Oh, tons. I mean, it's kind of crazy thinking about how many, just like if I were to count all of the little things that I've made so far and then expounding that over my entire lifetime, and then maybe I actually you know, 5 or 10% of that. So then I mean, I don't think you have to like every piece you make, but you have to learn from it. And that is like, I feel like I'm still at the bottom of that curve, and it's sort of, you know, it's probably exponential right now, and then it'll plateau at some point, but hopefully not. Just keep being exponential.
That's cool. I like that. No, you don't have to like every piece, but you should learn from it. That's pretty cool. So what's a creative goal that you want to accomplish in the next like 3 to 5, maybe even 10 years out? Because I know that you talked to me in the past about wanting to build a cabin out at your parents' farm. So tell me about that.
Yeah, that's probably my dream right now. There's an old flour and grist mill on my parents' farm, and I'd really like to. I mean, like commune is one word, and I don't know how I feel about that word. But then there's a really productive sort of culture, and I'd like to create that out there, and where we have maybe a live work sort of community